You guys told me, and I should have believed you, but I needed to have the experience myself. So Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. If you've been here before, then thank you so much for coming back again. I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Hashtag Wizard Squad, all that kind of stuff. Now, getting right to the thing that we need to talk about. This is going to be me eating crow. This is the Jason Eats Crow video. It's funny because I went back and I watched my 2 videos about leaving the Mac and coming back to the Mac from last year around this same time of year. And if I hadn't watched them, I would have said a lot of the same things about why Windows was frustrating and why I had to come back to the Mac. And I'm going to try and do something different. Maybe not that different, but different enough. So I spent 2 months, 2 full months using Windows exclusively. I used my desktop that I have over here. I used a Razer Blade 15. I tried the Dell XPS 15. I tried the Surface Book 2 again. And then I tried the MSI GS65 Stealth, the brand new one with the i9 chip in it. And I can say this, Windows laptops are better than they were even a year ago. Even a year ago, the build quality is so much better, and I just really was impressed with what the Windows laptops had to offer this year over last year. I mean, when I already knew the Surface Book was good. The MSI was really solid. I have to do 2 things in my job as a YouTube person. I have to work with audio, and I have to work with video. With every Windows device, I had some kind of different problem. The Razer Blade 15 was, I don't know, it was really cool. I loved the way it looked. I loved the way it felt. I loved everything about it, and it worked great. It ran great, except when when I went to render video in Final Cut Pro, and at first it wasn't using the discrete GPU at all. It was just trying to do everything with the CPU, and I know I had it. It was set to use the discrete GPU, but it just wouldn't do it. And so then I did some searching and I found out like, oh, you might have to reinstall the GeForce drivers. So I did that and I edited another video and it worked okay. But then I went back the next time and it was doing the same thing it'd been doing again. The Dell XPS 2-in-1. Just, it wasn't powerful enough. That was like a very quick kind of like, I'm going to try this. Oh, this is not good. I'm going to take it back. The Surface Book 2, I was impressed with just the same way that I was last year. Didn't really have any super big problems with the Surface Book 2. The screen was one of the best that I'd ever looked at. And it was a great computer. A little long in the tooth at this point. There needs to be a Surface Book 3, and I think we're getting one later on this year. The one thing that stuck out to me that wasn't a big deal for me last year, but is definitely a big deal for me this year, was that the Surface Book 2 doesn't have Thunderbolt 3. It has USB-C 3.1, but not Thunderbolt 3. And in the ensuing time between last year and this year, basically all my peripherals are running off of either USB-C or Thunderbolt. So my audio interface runs off Thunderbolt 3. Couldn't use it with this, so I had to use a different USB audio interface. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. The Surface was a good machine, but I wasn't ultimately sold. I didn't want to have to sell all of my Thunderbolt 3 stuff just because I wanted to use this computer, so it went back to the store. And that's when I got the MSI GS65. Like I said, it was a brand new one, had an RTX 2060, 32 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage, and the i9, I think it's the 9850 or the 9950H, and this machine was what I wanted, was what I needed, and I was like, wow, this thing is hot. It's got all the specs that I need. It has the same specs as my iMac Pro back there, comparably the same. And then I had to do the podcast a week ago Tuesday. I had all my Thunderbolt 3 stuff set up. I was using all my good gear. I was hearing myself speak into the microphone, and I sounded amazing because it was just, all the good stuff. And then Zach, my co-host, came onto the Google Hangout, and he's like, dude, you sound really scratchy and echoey. And I'm like, what? And I almost lost it. I knew exactly what was happening. And because it had happened before with Windows laptops and audio. And I just... Why do I do this to myself? Well, I think I have an explanation, and I hope that explanation is a good one. So I took the MSI back. It was such a great machine, but it was having problems. The drivers of my Thunderbolt 3 audio device and the Thunderbolt 3 of they weren't playing well together. Everything sounded great on my end, but it sounded bad on the other end. I got out my Behringer, like $49 interface, plugged that in, and everything worked fine. Lesson that I should have learned last time, but I definitely have learned again this time, is that audio and Windows don't play nicely together all the time. Yes, there are some things out there that work better with Windows than other things, but I have my Universal Audio Aero. I really love that interface. I've been using it for a while now, and I didn't want to have to let it go. I had spent money on plugins. I had spent money, on other things that went along with that interface. Last week, in comes Apple. They sneak this update of the MacBook Pros in. I wasn't happy with the 2018 MacBook Pros. If you want to watch the videos where I went through all this last year, I'll leave them in a comment, in a little thingy, like here, I think it is, or no, maybe it's here. I think it's here. So I'll leave that. You guys can go watch them, but finish watching this video first. So I went and I got the new i9 MacBook with 8 cores of goodness and 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of hard drive space. And I was a little nervous. Just to be straight out honest with you, I was a little bit nervous because the thermal throttling had been a problem, and it was still a problem from everything that I heard. And now instead of 6 cores, the MacBook Pro is going to have 8 cores. And still the same design and still the same everything that was a problem before. So how could this MacBook work? And there was really, the only way that I would know if it would work is if I used it. So I traded it. I traded in the MSI. I paid an extra $700 and got the MacBook Pro. And I'm happy to report that the thermal throttling is not an issue really at all. Like, it doesn't ever go below its base clock, so it's always sort of sticking where it needs to go. And it does turbo boost, but I don't know why people think turbo boosting should be like you go up to turbo and then you stay at turbo for a long time. Turbo boost is like a quick burst of speed, but not something that it's intended to maintain. So anyway, it's MacBook Pro doing fine, but damn, it gets hot. It gets really hot when it's doing stuff, and so that was making me a little nervous. I did benchmarks between my iMac Pro and my MacBook Pro. I'm going to make another video on that tomorrow, but suffice it to say that the results were somewhat surprising. So anyway, here I am again. You guys can have at it. Tell me that I'm crazy. Tell me that I should have known I shouldn't have done this in the first place. I guess the thing is, it seems like it's a good thing to keep checking back in with the other side to see what the other side's got going on, because maybe they're doing good things. Maybe things have changed, and things have changed in the year since I did the last switch to Windows. Maybe I'll make this a yearly thing. I'm not going to be dramatic about this. I tried the Windows laptops. I tried my Windows desktop, and it was just keeping me from doing the work that I needed to do in small ways, but small and annoying ways that took up more time than I wanted to deal with. So I went back to the Mac, and now everything's working great. So yeah, that's the whole story. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm sure that you guys have stuff to say, right? Yeah. Thanks a lot for being here. I really do appreciate it. If this was your first time here and you want to come on back again, you can do that by hitting the like and subscribe button, and then bell notify yourself. Come on back so you can see me make grand pronouncements, and then 2 months later come slinking back just to say that I was wrong. I was wrong. Okay? I was wrong. Anyway, My name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.